Hi again YouTube, it is LJ here from Wildcat Fitness. I am back with another So You Want to Be a Personal Trainer video. And just before I start, I just want to say thank you very much to everybody who has been watching these videos so far, and thank you to everybody who's been leaving me really nice comments as well. I'm really glad that some of you guys are finding this helpful. That is the main reason that I'm recording them, to literally try and not only share my story but hopefully help, inspire, give some advice, give you guys something to think about, just for the so many people out there that I know who would love to work in the fitness industry but just aren't sure how. So if I can help any of you in any way, then that's fantastic. So I'm glad that I have been so far, and if you have left me comments, messages, as I say, thank you very much for doing that. So this is video number 3 now. Don't know why I did that, I'm sure you can count. That's quite a useful skill as a personal trainer, being able to count. Probably won't do another video on that topic. You can have that one for free. Anyway, this video number 3, I thought I would just hopefully quickly, because I know my last 2 videos have been quite long, I'm going to try and keep this one relatively short and cover the topic of where you train your clients. Now, there are lots of options open to you here, and I think I touched on one of these in the last video, and that is obviously one of the first options that you've got, and actually something that can be a really good thing when you're starting out, especially if you are new to the fitness industry, if you are kind of transferring over from a different career, maybe something a bit more corporate. An option that you might want to consider or you might want to look into is actually working in-house for a commercial chain gym. So your Virgin Actives, your David Lloyds, your Fitness Firsts, all of those sorts of gyms obviously all have personal trainers. This can be a great way to start because you have effectively already got clients. You're already working in a gym. A lot of people that are signing up are not going to know how to use a gym or are going to be wanting help in some way or another. So this can be quite good in that I'm not saying you won't have to at all, but the advertising for business, the generating clients, the generating leads, that tends to be much less when you're working in-house. There almost tends to be people already there. You've effectively already got a target market in front of you. And indeed, some of these gyms, I know because I used to work for one of them, one of the ones I've already mentioned, they will almost pretty much just pass inquiries straight to you. So it's not to say that you've got a ready-made client base, but you as good as have basically got people in front of you who are looking for personal training. So if you're not sure or not confident, about the marketing side of things, about the PR, about how you get clients, if you don't want to do everything at once, not only change your career and retrain, but go out and generate your own business as well, then this can be a really good place to start. Generally speaking, you'll also be working in a team of personal trainers, probably under the guidance of a personal training manager. So again, if you're starting out, this is really nice because you've got a peer group around you, you've got other people that are doing the same thing, you've got people around you that can cover you if ever anything happens. Similarly, if they go away, you might get to cover their clients. You can learn from them, you can bounce ideas off them. That was one of the things that I really loved when I worked in-house at a gym. I actually had a really great team, and we'd often train together or just maybe see something that one of the other PTs was doing with their clients, and you maybe say, oh, that looked cool, could you show me, or could you talk me through this, and vice versa. So that can be a really positive side of it. Similarly, if you're working under a personal training manager, then they can hopefully guide you, give you a bit of mentoring. So it can be a really nice way to start out. The flip side of that, as again, from my personal point of view and my personal opinion, this is not 100% fact, I'm only giving you my advice on what I've experienced. The flip side of that is that the gym will be taking quite a big cut of your hourly rate. So you may well find that you're having to work a lot of hours to make a decent living. So financially, it can be a little bit tough to start with. the different commercial gyms tend to work in different ways. Some take a cut of your hourly rate, some just charge you a monthly rent. I'm actually not really sure what other kind of options there are. I think it tends to be one or the other. But anyway, you certainly won't be earning as much as an in-house PT as you would be if you were fully freelance on your own. But you've got somewhere to train your clients, probably a really nice space to train your clients, and you've kind of got ready-made inquiries coming through. So you probably have to balance the two of those things out, and depending on where you are, see whether that's an option that will work for you. So next option is to find your own space, your own studio, your own gym to take your clients. Now, some people will kind of contact you or, turn around, or, some people maybe don't necessarily understand. They might be members of Virgin Active, David Lloyd, Fitness First, LA Fitness, blah, 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 and say, oh, well, I have a gym membership, so can you just come to my gym and train me? No, you can't. And similarly, if you're a member of one of these gyms, you can't just take your clients there as well, because they tend to have their own in-house team of PTs. They obviously don't want the competition, and it just kind of isn't, great for their sort of brand standards. So I'm not saying it's impossible. Some people are sneaky. It happens. I've seen it happen. I'm sure you've seen it happen as well. But you could obviously risk getting your membership suspended, getting your clients' membership suspended. And trust me, the fitness industry is not that big. You don't want to be burning any bridges. You don't want to be seen to be unprofessional. So if you are not working in-house, as a PT at one of these gyms, you won't be able to take your clients there. Doesn't matter if your clients are a member there, you won't be able to come and train them there either. So that those two things kind of together won't work. So you can look for literally a private PT studio, one that only freelance personal trainers rent and can take their clients. That's what I do at the moment. So I rent a studio space in West London. It's just a personal training gym. It is predominantly freelance PTs that train there with their clients. So it's small, but the clientele there is small because it's only PTs and clients. People can tend to feel a lot more comfortable there because it's not an open, big commercial gym floor. I pay a per session rent to train my clients there. It has everything I need. Is it perfect? Is it exactly the way that I would want it to be? No, but I'm not paying a monthly rent and the council tax and the business rates, and I don't have the overheads, and if the treadmill breaks or somebody smashes a mirror with a kettlebell, or not to kind of be selfish or unprofessional, but so what? It's actually not my problem. I take my clients there, I train my clients there, I walk away at the end of the day. I don't have any of that hassle. And similarly, I only pay for the time that I'm there with my clients. So you might kind of think, oh, but it would be so much more economical just to rent my own space, which is great if you're training, 10, 12 hours a day. But if you can train 10, 12 hours a day and sustain that and sustain a really high professional standard over coming weeks and months and potentially years, then, well, hats off to you. What I'm trying to say is you probably won't. So maybe, you might be able to get a really good deal on a rental space, like just your rental space, and make it your own and personalise it to you and not have to worry about kind of other people and what they're doing and what their clients are doing. But you've then got the financial aspect of, you might be paying for something that you're not using all the time. It might be a huge chunk of your revenue. I'm obviously only speaking from a London point of view. I can only kind of refer to this, from London rents and from London prices and whatnot, which are extortionate. So, maybe if you are outside of London, all of this would be a lot more possible than it is in central London. For me personally, I looked into renting my own space, and it was just cost prohibitive. I'd have to be working either a hell of a lot or charging a humongous hourly rate to justify it and, to make it profitable. So whilst renting a PT studio with other freelance PTs isn't ideal in some ways, the things that are good about it far outweigh the bad. So that's what I do. And there are plenty of these studios across London, across the UK. Just Google personal training studio, freelance personal training studio, and I'm sure there will be one in your area. Again, when you first start out on your own, this is a really, really good way to go. So that's something else that you can do. this point kind of ties in maybe like with the next point, and that is what I like about having a studio base is that I can see not necessarily a lot of clients at once, but it kind of helps with timetabling, with scheduling, in that certainly for peak times, so like for me before and after work, so I can see like a 7 a.m, an 8 a.m, a 9 a.m, or a 5 p.m, a 6 p.m, a 7 p.m, whatever it is, because I'm in one place. So once I finish with one client, I can literally just swap straight over and have another client there, or maybe, you know, have a half an hour gap or whatever it is. But volume wise and just time wise, I'm not traveling from here to there to here, so that's not dead time. I'm just there and I'm in one place. However, you might not want to be in one place, might not want to be stuck in one location. Similarly, it might not work for all of your clients, so you might need to travel a bit. So if you are going to travel, then you've got a couple of options open to you. So obviously you could operate in several different studios, and some PTs do this. Maybe have a client base, say for example, have a client base in West London, have a client base in East London, have a studio in each location that, you know, kind of works for those sets of clients. So maybe you're in West London Monday, Wednesday and Friday mornings, and in East London Tuesday and Thursday evenings, or whatever it is. So that's possible. You obviously can also train people at their houses. So this is going to be dependent on a few things. A, that they have the space to be able to do a decent workout. B, you know, do they have any equipment, or are you happy kind of bringing equipment to them? For some people, like, this will be absolutely fine. You know, you might have people who are very, very new to exercise, in which case probably body weight, you know, resistance bands, maybe very light weights will be all they need. Or, you know, potentially you've got a pregnant client or a rehabbing client, or something which, you know, somebody you could train with minimal equipment. So home visits, if they have the space, can work well for that. So the downsides for home training, unless you can kind of get a lot of clients in the same area, you're probably going to find you're travelling quite a lot. Potentially you're going to be lugging equipment from pillar to post quite a lot. As I say, if you've only got kind of light bits and pieces, gliding discs, or as I say, resistance bands, or, you know, relatively light stuff, mats, whatever, that's fine. But when you start having to lug around kettlebells or dumbbells, or, you know, anything that kind of weighs a bit, honestly, it's going to start to get wearing quite quickly. Again, especially in London with public transport, I have rocked up with kettlebells on the tube and things. You do see it, but yeah, it can be pretty tiring. So think about that. If someone says they want home training, I'd always recommend going and having a look at the space. Some people kind of think they can work out in the area of a postage stamp, and I'm not saying you can't, but week in, week out, have a think, like, how are you going to be able to push them? How are you going to be able to advance their training? You know, if you wanted to do some boxing, for example, is there space to do that really? Or is it going to be a bit cluttered or get a bit tough? Or, you know, if they have a garden, if they have like a room that they can clear, this can work perfectly. And the really, really positive thing about this is, A, you're not beholden to anybody else, as in you don't have to worry about what other PTs or other trainers or other people in the gym are doing. It's their space, so effectively it's your space for that time. The client's probably going to feel a lot more comfortable in their own home as well. And you've got no rent and no overhead, so your hourly rate is what you're making, because obviously you're not paying rent, or, you know, you're not having to share your revenue with anybody else. Like, it's coming straight to you because they're training in their own home. So you know, you kind of want to weigh up the pros and cons of that. This is kind of similar, but especially again if you're in big cities, you may train people who are travelling. Totally lost my train of thought there, but now it's back. In which case, hotel visits might be possible, and that's something that I've done a bit of in the past. People might contact you and say, you know, I'm over from the States for a fortnight, I'm going to be staying in X hotel, there's a gym, can you come and train me? I've done that before, that works really well. You probably will need to just double check with the hotel themselves that they are okay with that. Some hotels do actually, again, have their own kind of team of in-house personal trainers, so you just want to check you're not treading on any toes. But if a hotel give you the A-OK, then again, this, you know, can be really good. You know, you can go to someone, the equipment's already there, generally speaking, they're nice spaces, they don't tend to get too busy, so that can work too. The other thing, and obviously another kind of big thing, is park training, outdoor training. A lot of people don't realise this, but certainly in London, again, I can only speak for London, I don't know how it is in the rest of the country, you often now have to pay a licence fee to train people outside, and you have to pay it to the relevant council that own the public space. So, for example, if you had a couple of clients in Hyde Park, a couple of clients in Regent's Park, a couple of clients in Green Park, you actually need a separate licence for all of these parks. They're not that cheap. Sometimes parks get full as well. So a couple of years ago, I actually tried to apply for a licence for Green Park, and they said no because they already had, I think they allow, I don't know, 15 or 20 trainers or something to have a licence, so it's not kind of overrun with PTs. So I wasn't even able to get one. I wasn't able to apply. And the parks police are quite hot on following this up. So certainly if you train in one of the royal parks, like I said, Regent's, Green, Hyde, Kensington Gardens, I think, you are given an armband, like a neon armband, so the parks police can see that you're licensed. I have been stopped before and I've not been wearing my armband, and the police will take your details and it will go on file. I once got stopped by the police training in Hyde Park because I was using a resistance band around a tree to do a chest press, and apparently you can't use equipment on any trees in Hyde Park. So again, he took my details, said it would go on my file. Nothing more came of it, but don't just think that you can just rock up to the local park and just do what you want. This may well be different outside of London, and similarly, so I have a licence for Hammersmith and Fulham Council, so I can train in any of the open spaces within Hammersmith and Fulham. I have the licence, I'm all applied, I'm all accredited. I've never ever once been stopped, once been asked to see it, once been questioned, so I've done that, I've paid my money, I have my licence, but yeah, no one's ever checked it, so maybe you want to take the risk, but I'm not advising that you do. It's obviously going to look massively unprofessional in front of your client. If you get stopped by the police and asked to move on, they might feel uncomfortable too. As I say, like tiny little local parks, you probably should be fine. But again, just think, some gyms nowadays have kind of, equipment ready to go. Or obviously you can, make out workouts using some, say, for example, the children's playground staffs, doing pull-ups or tricep dips or box jumps or whatever. But again, chances are, if somebody's going to commit to blocker sessions or be training with you for a period of time outdoors, you're probably going to want to advance those sessions. So that may well mean bringing equipment as you go through. So do you want to be lugging a load of equipment from pillar to post? Again, obviously you can't legislate for other people around you in a park. You will get attention from lots of dogs, which is great for me. I love dogs and that's amazing, but I've taken clients to parks before and they freak out because dogs always come over, especially when you tend to be doing ab stuff or anything kind of on the floor. Dogs want to come over and be part of it. Some clients hate that, so I know it sounds silly, but you have to kind of take that into account. And the other thing is the weather as well. I literally don't care. I know you probably can't believe it because I'm a bit precious when it comes to other things, but rain, shine, snow, hail, hurricanes, I will train outside in any weather conditions. It genuinely doesn't bother me. You just wrap up and you dress accordingly. Clients will say at the start, yeah, I want to train outdoors. I want to be outdoors. I don't want to be cooped up in a gym. I like the fresh air, la, la, la. You'd be amazed the minute like a rain cloud appears, suddenly your phone will fill up with cancellation texts. So just bear that in mind. Clients can be really flaky when it comes to the weather. And actually I do very little outdoor training now because it was just really starting to mess up my schedule. Because say you schedule, 3 outside or 3, in parks kind of near each other. If a couple drop out in the middle and you've got this dead time or la 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 la, just be mindful of it, that's all. Honestly, people will tell you they don't care about the weather, they just want to be outdoors. Honestly, they don't. It's a bit cold, it's a bit windy, it's a bit wet. They won't want to do it. That doesn't count for everybody, but that's something that's happened in my experience. Lots of cancellations because of weather conditions. And living in the UK, there's going to be some weather conditions. So those are the main options, I would say, when it comes to where you train your clients. So either working in-house at a commercial gym and kind of being employed by that gym and paid by that gym to train their clients. Working for yourself, being fully freelance, and either hiring a PT studio yourself, your own studio space, or renting and just paying session by session within a private personal training studio. Potentially, you might be able to train clients in hotel gyms, or indeed, I'd just say on that point, if you're lucky enough to have wealthy clients who live in, say, mansion blocks or newer developments, certainly within big cities, they may have gyms in their building. Screensaver just came on, which means, yes, I've gone on far too long. You may want to go to clients' homes, train them at home, in their gardens, in their own kind of space. Or you may want to train in parks or in outdoor spaces. So these are not, by all means, all the options open to you. These are the options that I've come across. Tried to go through the pros and cons of each, as always. If you've got any questions about this, if you're wondering where you might go and train your clients, if you're wondering how I found my private PT studio, what I do with sessions in the park, etc., etc., etc. Any questions that you've got, either about this video, either of the 2 videos that I've recorded before, or anything that you want to know or ask me or for me to cover in a video about how you become a personal trainer, then ask me. Either comment below, send me an email, follow me on Twitter, on Instagram, on Snapchat. Just connect with me. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.